Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a tag for you all. I've seen this go around the beauty community quite a bit recently. I know it was super popular a couple of weeks ago, so I'm like a little bit late to the party, but I thought it would still be fun to do. And this is the 5 brands that excite me and 5 that don't tag that was created by Samantha March. Now you guys know I love Samantha's channel. She inspires me all the time to create content, so I will link her version of this tag for you guys in the description box down below and highly encourage you to watch it. But essentially, as the name of the tag would suggest, we're going to be talking about 5 brands that really excite me and 5 brands that I'm just really not into. Now I did do a video similar to this, well pretty much just talking about brands that I'm not into last summer. It was a collaboration I did with my friend here, Maria, so if you guys missed that video, I will link it for you in the description box as well. I pretty much still feel the same way I did last August about those brands, so if you want to hear about more beauty brands that I personally don't find that interesting, you can go watch that video after this one. But today I've got a fresh crop of new answers, many of which are probably going to be slightly controversial, but I just want to keep it real with you guys. So on that note, I think we will start with the brands that don't excite me so we can end things on a more positive note. So this first brand, I'm really sad to admit I'm not excited by because I used to be so into it. I feel like when I first started out blogging, I picked up so many products from this brand. I wanted to try everything, but over the years, I've become less and less interested in their new launches, and now I feel like I don't even pay attention to anything they're coming out with at all. And that brand is NYX. Now, there are a couple of reasons why I think NYX no longer excites me. First and foremost, I think the biggest issue is that they launch so much, and I feel like their launches aren't particularly hyped, maybe because they're coming out with so many new collections all the time. They don't really do a lot to promote them, so I feel like I'm not really seeing a lot of reviews. I'm not really seeing their new launches used on camera. There's not a lot of buzz about them, so I feel like half the time I don't even know that they're happening. But then when I do stumble across like a new display of products that are coming out from NYX, I feel like I mostly just pass over them. Like I honestly cannot think of a new launch from NYX in the last couple of years that I've been really excited about. And then the second reason that kind of ties into this is that I feel like NYX has just been slowly upping their price point over the years. So like the last launch that I can think of that did pique my interest was when they came out with those Elements palettes a couple of years ago, and they were like $30, which is really insane for a drugstore brand. So as much as I was intrigued by those palettes, I didn't end up buying any of them because the price point was so high. And then the reviews I saw on it weren't that great anyway. Like I was really glad that I didn't end up buying them because I don't think they were that great. And honestly, since then I feel like I've just been very like meh about the brand. I think it's great that they offer so many more like artistry focused products at an affordable price point. But I honestly just feel like the quality of their products is just kind of lacking a little bit. Things that I've seen just haven't been that interesting to me. Maybe the collections are just not my personal cup of tea and it's just a me thing. But I don't know, I just don't feel that excited about NYX. I'm not really paying attention to their new launches. I haven't been really excited to pick anything up from the brand, and I think that's just kind of a big bummer. So this next brand, I feel like a lot of people have a nostalgic place in their heart for or really love in the beauty community, but I personally have never really been that into, and I feel like I'm a rarity in saying that. And that brand is MAC. So I know so many people grew up using MAC. Like, so I'm in my early 30s. Back in the early 2000s, I feel like MAC was one of those brands that was known for being like the best that you could get out there that wasn't like exorbitantly priced. Like MAC was still expensive, especially if you were a high schooler with a minimum wage job. Like I could never afford to go out and buy MAC eyeshadows and lipsticks. Like I could barely afford my drugstore makeup. But I do remember growing up hearing so much about MAC and knowing so many people used it, loved it, like all the cool kids, all the popular girls in high school, they used MAC. And I feel like for a long time they just had a cult following. They were a makeup makeup artist's favorite brand, and I feel like at the time that they were like at the height of their popularity, there just weren't as many options in cosmetics. Like there weren't as many indie brands, up and coming brands as there are now. So I feel like MAC just was that brand that came out with really unique, interesting products. They were very artistry driven. They were very inclusive. Like MAC definitely made a name for themselves for a reason, and I understand why so many people love the brand and are excited by it. But I just kind of like missed that whole era because I could never afford to buy their products, so I just never used them. And it really wasn't until maybe 2 years ago that I tried my very first MAC product, and I like what I've tried, but I can't say I've ever like fallen head over heels in love with anything. And in today's day and age of cosmetics, there is just so much out there. We have so many options, and every brand is pushing each other to be better and better. I feel like the quality of cosmetics right now is better than it's ever been. So I just feel like in today's playing field, MAC is just not as exciting to me. I feel like they launch a lot of collections. They're really known for their limited edition packaging, and a lot of it's really cute, but most of it, I just feel like it's expensive, I don't need it, and I just pass right over it. When I think about what makeup I want to buy and what brand like I'm paying the most attention to, MAC is real low on that list. Now, brand number 3 that doesn't excite me is one that I used to be super intrigued by. I've never owned very much from this brand because it's a little bit more on the pricey side, but I remember when I first got into makeup, I heard so much about this brand that I wanted to try everything. But again, as time has gone on and I've tried other products, I feel like now I just don't really care very much. And that brand is NARS. So again, NARS is one of those beauty giants that's been around for a very long time. They have a lot of cult classic products. You know, I've tried their Orgasm blush, I've tried their Laguna bronzer, I've tried their Radiant Creamy concealer. I actually do love their eye primer. That is one of the few NARS products that I still continue to use. But honestly, what happened over time was that I felt like as I tried new things, the products from NARS that I tried, I started to like less and less by comparison. So I just don't feel super compelled to go out and buy new products from NARS. Like, I do pay attention to their launches, but there hasn't been a single one that I've wanted to buy in the last, I don't know, 2-3 years. I think the only product at this point that I'm like kind of curious about is their soft matte concealer, the one in the pot. That one I'm kind of curious about because I've heard so many good things and I don't own a pot concealer, so I kind of want to try one. But honestly, like every eyeshadow palette, every face palette that I've seen them launch in the last couple of years, they all look so very similar. And honestly, I think the thing that's most intriguing to me about all of them is the packaging. Like, I will say NARS kills it with their packaging. They do such a beautiful job, but I can't justify shelling out $60 something for a palette just for the packaging alone. So yeah, I'm sure that NARS makes decent products still. I'm not saying that they're bad by any means. I don't know, I just have not been excited by anything they've been coming out with. All of it kind of seems sort of like I've seen it before, especially from the brand itself. I don't know, maybe if it wasn't as high-end and expensive as it was, I would be more inclined to try things. But when you set your price point as high as they do, I just am not as willing to like take the risk. The fourth brand that I am not really all that excited by is a super popular and also super controversial brand, and that is Morphe. I have tried Morphe before. I have the Jaclyn Hill palette, which I will say I do really love. And I do have one of their 15 pan palettes that I got in a Boxy Luxe box, which honestly, I haven't even swatched yet. And I have tried some of their brushes, which are okay. I think the Elite Collection brushes are better than their regular brushes, but they're not anything that's like super spectacular. And overall, I guess I've always just sort of felt like Morphe is more hype than anything. I wouldn't say that their products are bad, and I appreciate that they come at a little bit of a lower price point. I just feel like for the amount of hype that they get, I'm kind of like that much more dubious and less excited about them. They also launch a lot. I feel like you can tell when a brand is choosing quantity over quality, like brands that their marketing tactic is to just launch one thing after another thing after another thing to constantly stay in the forefront of people's minds. A lot of those brands I just end up not really being that into because I feel like the quality is just not as there as if they had really taken their time to make like the best launch possible. And like in the case of Morphe, I feel like their foundations and concealers that just launched is kind of evidence of that. Like yes, they launched a ton of different shades, but like if you saw, I think it was Jackie Aina's review, she basically said that the shade range wasn't really that functional for people of deeper skin tones because the undertones were kind of all wrong. And I've seen several other reviews of people saying they didn't really like the formula that much, and I don't know, I just saw it and was like, I don't even care to try that. Like there's nothing about the Morphe brand that draws loyalty out of me, that makes me say I want to support this brand no matter what they do. Like I love them, I want to try everything they launch. It's more the kind of brand that once in a blue moon they'll come out with something that I'm interested in and maybe I'll think about picking up. But honestly, for the most part, it just feels like noise to me. I'm just not really that into it. And there are so many other similarly priced brands that I like better and actually do want to support that I'm just kind of like, meh, when it comes to Morphe. And then the last brand that doesn't excite me is kind of a newer, more up-and-coming brand. So I feel a little bit more guilty saying that they don't interest me, but it's just the truth. And that is Glamlight. So Glamlight is the brand that's launching all of these like food-themed eyeshadow palettes. They have the pizza palette and they have the burger palette and taco palette, or I don't even know what else they have. And like, I really definitely applaud their creativity. I think what they're doing is really cute and fun. There's honestly just nothing about it that interests me. First of all, the packaging on a lot of these palettes, while really fun for the theme, is like, to me, not the kind of thing I gravitate towards at all. I'm super girly. I like things that are really kind of luxe and fancy looking. I also really like things that are small and sleek and easy for me to store. Like, all I keep thinking when I see the pizza palette is like, where would I put it? Like, it's a palette that's the round and like the size of a pizza, like a personal pan pizza. It's pretty big, and I just am like, that won't fit anywhere easily in my collection, and that would drive me nuts. And obviously every palette of theirs is not like that. They do have some that are kind of your standard rectangle, but I don't know, something about the color stories that I've seen of a lot of their palettes just haven't been like my personal cup of tea. There's nothing from the brand that I've ever come across and been like, ooh, I really want to buy that. So as much as I think that like what they're doing is unique and fun, and I'm totally all for everybody supporting whatever brands they want to support, I just know I personally am not really excited about what they're doing. Now, before I move on to the 5 brands that do excite me, I wanted to mention just a couple of brands that I felt like didn't really fit on either one of these lists. And these are the brands I feel like kind of belong on both lists, because there are things they launch that I'm like extremely into, and then basically everything else I'm extremely not into. Like, I feel very polarized about most of their products. And the reason I think I feel that way is because they launch so dang much. And those 3 brands are Too Faced, ColourPop, and Tarte. Some of my absolute favorite makeup that I own is from all 3 of those brands. But I can name multiple collections from all 3 of them that I had absolutely zero interest in whatsoever. And I feel like that happens pretty much always with those 3 brands, because they launch so many new collections all the time. It's kind of overwhelming. It drives me a little bit crazy. But like, I can't say that they're brands that don't excite me, because they definitely have launches every once in a while that I'm like, oh my god, yes, I totally want that. I'm so into it. And then I kind of get like sucked back into the brand for a while. And then they'll launch a bunch of junk that I'm like not really into. So those are the 3 brands I feel like for me that are kind of like right in the middle. I love them and I hate them. They make great stuff. They also drive me crazy. So let's get a little more positive up in here and move on to the 5 brands that do excite me. So the first brand actually just launched a new product today that I want so bad, and that is Nava Cosmetics. Ever since Nava got on my radar last year, I have been hooked. I have had my eyes glued on their Instagram page. Their makeup is so beautiful to me. I want to try it all so bad. And honestly, the only reason that I haven't tried more than I have is because they're in Italy and they are not sold anywhere here in the United States. Shipping products from Nabla to the US is pretty expensive, so I just haven't bit the bullet yet. But I know I mentioned to you guys in a recent video that I'm thinking for my birthday that I might treat myself to a Nabla haul, because I just really feel myself being drawn towards the brand, drawn towards their aesthetic, the types of products that they launch. It just speaks to my soul. I also feel like it's the kind of brand we don't hear a lot about here in the US. Not a lot of YouTubers use and talk about their products because they're just not as easy to get a hold of. So I also don't feel like burned out on their products. I think there are some brands that I just hear about all the time. Everybody's using the same things over and over, and it gets a little bit boring. But Nabla is one of those brands you just don't hear that much about, so it's just more intriguing. It kind of piques your interest and makes you curious to like find out what the deal is with their stuff. And today, their new Secret palette just launched, and it looks so beautiful. Obviously, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's like a really cool mix of like jewel tones and colorful shades and neutrals, and I think it looks stunning. I think the packaging looks insane. It's so beautiful, and I love the fact that even though Nabla is kind of continually launching new stuff, it doesn't ever feel overwhelming. They're not launching a new collection like every other week. So it seems like they have like a really good pacing with their new product launches. Like they're not letting years go by before they launch something new, but they're also not inundating their customers with like a barrage of new launches every 5 seconds. And to be honest, I feel like this is the case of all the brands that excite me. I feel like that is a qualification to excite me as a beauty brand. Like you have to have a reasonable pace of new launches so I have time to properly digest them and be excited. Like you need to give a new launch time to sit with the consumer for them to like really fully appreciate it before you bring in a new thing for them to be excited about. So another brand that I feel like has done a great job of this, that is the second one on my list, is Persona Cosmetics. Now Persona Cosmetics is actually an influencer founded brand. It was started by a YouTuber. Her name is Sona Gasparian. She's super beautiful, very classy, and I feel like she has done a fantastic job with launching her brand. She's gone about it in such a way that you know she's really taking her time to develop like the best formulas possible. She's keeping the price points reasonable. She's being very thoughtful about what she's launching when. And I feel like because of that, she has not had a bad product launch since she started Persona. And I think Persona might be the only brand that I've tried at least one of like everything she's made. Like I have tried one of her liquid lipsticks, one of her lip glosses, I have the Identity palette, I got one of the Color Theory kits, I have one of the highlights. And like honestly, I don't think there is any other brand that I've been that loyal to, but I am so happy to be loyal to that brand because I think the products are good. They're good and they're a good value, and I just really enjoy using them. So I am excited about whatever she's gonna launch next because I'm sure it's gonna be amazing, and it's like there's not even a question in my mind whether or not I'm gonna buy them and try them. Like I know that the Identity 2 palette is coming out later this year. I'm super excited. Sona's leaked like one shade on her Instagram. It was this really beautiful teal, so I'm super pumped to see like what the rest of the color story is gonna look like. But yeah, Persona is definitely one of my favorite brands, and I am really excited to see what they have on the horizon. The third brand that I would say really excites me right now is Dose of Colors. Now, I haven't loved everything I've tried from Dose of Colors, but again, I feel like Anna is really thoughtful and creative with her launches, and everything that Dose of Colors comes out with, I feel like at least piques my interest a little bit. Again, I feel like she's really mindful to her price point. Like she's trying to deliver really quality cosmetics that don't cost an arm and a leg. And I like that she's trying to do things that are both like practical and out of the box at the same time. Like she just launched new eyeliners and lip liners, kind of your standard automatic twist up pencils, nothing super exciting, kind of like a staple thing you would expect to see in a lot of makeup brands. But she launched them in a ton of colors, and really cool, unique colors that you don't see very often, and like with a brand named Dose of Colors, I would hope that that's what they would do. And honestly, even though I didn't end up totally loving the formula of those eye and lip liners, I'm still glad that I tried them. Like, I'm gonna continue to use them, and I still feel like it didn't take anything away from my excitement. Like, I'm still looking forward to seeing what Dose of Colors is gonna launch next. Like, they launched the Block Party eyeshadow collection. I thought that formula was super cool. I love the Francation palette, so like, I'm excited to see what they do next on the eyeshadow front. I think their lip glosses are great. I enjoy their bullet lipsticks, their liquid lipsticks. Like, they do a lot of really great things, and I feel like they offer a lot of really unique shades of their products. So I don't know, I just think Dose does some really cool stuff. They definitely have their own unique vibe that I really gel with, and I love the fact that they're not like super uber luxury. Like, I don't feel like I'm gonna totally break the bank if I splurge on one of their products. The fourth brand that I would say really excites me right now is another female-founded, up-and-coming indie brand, and that is Nava Cosmetics. Now, Alamar is still relatively new to the scene. They don't have a lot out yet, but I think everything they've done, everything they've launched has been bomb. I just used this guy on my cheeks today. This is the Alamar Cosmetics Colorete Blush Trio, and it is stinking beautiful. This is the Fairlight version. I got it in my BoxyCharm, and I think it's such a beautiful formula. Blends so nicely on the cheeks. It looks really natural. I'm just like totally into this, and this guy retails for $22, which I feel like for a blush palette really isn't bad. Like, yes, the packaging is cardboard, but it still feels like a nice quality. I love the little like foil detailing that's on here, and I feel like everything that Gabby has been coming out with has been just like that nice middle of the road where it doesn't feel cheap and drugstory, but it's not super luxe, so she's able to keep things affordable while still feeling like you're getting really good quality. And as you can tell, like, that's my sweet spot with makeup. I'm all about mid-ranged brands because I'm still a normal person on a budget with a mortgage. It is really hard for me to justify spending like $30 on a lipstick or $70 on an eyeshadow palette. Like, that pains me a little bit. And even brands like Too Faced and Tarte, some of their stuff can get kind of up there. And I feel like there are these indie brands that are just a little bit more affordable. They keep things more in the $20 price point or the high teens, and yet they're still delivering quality that's just as good as your Tarte, Too Faced, Anastasia, Beverly Hills, etc. So I find myself super excited to see what Alamar Cosmetics is gonna launch in the coming year. Like, they came out with the volume 2 to their Reina del Caribe palette, which I still haven't picked up yet, but I do kind of really want because the colors in there look beautiful, and I feel like the two Reina palettes next to each other make the most awesome color story. So yeah, I just feel like Gabby really has an eye for color. She really has a knack for coming out with things that are unique and fun, tropical. Like, her makeup, her whole brand just makes me happy. Like, it just has that kind of vibe about it that it's just like cheerful and good and positive, and I'm all about it. So definitely excited by Alamar and really looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do next. And the fifth and final brand that I wanna talk about is one that I feel like has more recently piqued my interest. Like, I wasn't always super into them, but their last couple of launches have really hooked me in, and now I can say, like, I'm pretty excited to have them on my radar and see what they're gonna be doing. And that brand is Jouer. Now, I first remember kind of stumbling upon Jouer way back in the days when I used to be subscribed to Birchbox, circa like 2013. I remember their tinted moisturizer used to be like a big deal. A lot of their products were in these little compacts, these little like plastic compacts that kind of like locked together, and you can make your own little custom palettes. And they had some stuff that I was really into, but I feel like once I kind of moved away from Birchbox, I didn't really hear that much about Jouer anymore, and they kind of fell off my radar. And over the last couple of years, I feel like the brand has kind of undergone some pretty significant changes. They're kind of like morphing, transforming into something new. They've definitely popped on the radar of influencers, and I feel like that's like a really big part of their marketing now. And they've like totally gone away from the little click and lock little compacts to these really beautiful compacts. Actually, all of their packaging is super feminine, stunning. Jouer is one of those brands that attracts me because its aesthetic and my aesthetic are kind of like, you know, right on the same page. But anyway, I feel like since I bit the bullet last year and picked up one of their blush bouquets, Jouer has just been right back on my radar. Like, the quality of the formula of that blush is so beautiful that immediately I was like, ooh, what am I missing? What do you have going on? Now I need to try everything. And most recently, Jouer leaked some pictures of their upcoming summer collection, their tan lines collection. And I saw that and was like, dang it, I want everything. That eyeshadow palette, it looks so cute. I love the lime green and the blue. Like, it looks so summery and fun. And I 100% don't need it, but like, I definitely want it. So yeah, I feel like Jouer was one of those brands that like a long time ago I was into, and then we had like a little lull in there where I wasn't really paying attention to what they were doing at all, and now I'm really intrigued and excited again. I feel like their powder products are beautiful. I really want to try their concealer. I'm really curious about their foundation, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to be doing in the next year. Alright guys, so I think that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on all these beauty brands. Definitely leave a comment down below and let me know if any of the brands I mentioned excite you or don't excite you. If we are like on completely opposite sides of these things, like, it's totally cool. It's just makeup. You love what you love. So if you're all about a burger-shaped eyeshadow palette, you do you, boo. I think that is awesome. Anyway, on that note, I'm gonna let you guys go, but I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.